Hello, everybody. I thought we would start back with our kind of like bedtime with Mama. I don't know, American Girl doll bedtime stories, maybe. And I thought I would start back with Meet Samantha. Sorry, I'm getting on the bed. Sorry for all the funky stuff. There's the Bubba's. He's on the bed. So I thought I would start with the Meet Samantha book, and I'm gonna get started. How's that? Um, and as I showed you guys, this is the way when the dolls first came out. So the first three, Samantha, Molly, and Kirsten, when they originally in 1986 came out, you would get a hard copy book with them. So this is the book you would have gotten with your Samantha doll. As you can see, it says Meet Samantha, Book 1, 1904. And there's the cover. I got this for 50 cents. I was so excited to find hard copy Meet Samantha. In the back, it only had the three dolls, Kirsten, Samantha, and Molly, because again, those are the first three that came out in 1986. And it says, the books in the collection tell the stories of three American girls who lived long ago. Kirsten, a pioneer girl of strength and spirit who settles on the frontier. Samantha, a bright Victorian beauty, an orphan raised by her wealthy grandmother. Molly, who schemes and dreams on the home front during World War II. You can share their worlds, the friends they make, the struggles and successes they have in school, the excitement of their Christmas secrets, their birthday celebrations, and their summer adventures. You'll see that some things in their lives are very different from yours, but others, like families, friendship, and feelings, haven't changed at all. These are the important things the American Girl will always share. These are the traditions that come alive in the American Girls collection. And then there's the seal of the Pleasant Company. So this is one of my treasured, because you guys know Samantha is my girl. And so this is one of my treasured books. So let's get started. In this front, you would see this book belongs, and this book belonged to Lauren Elizabeth. And she got it in 1992 on December, which was a Tuesday. I'm going to assume she got it as a Christmas gift. Here tells the different books they had. The American Girls Collection is what it was called. And again, the Meet Samantha. Sorry for the glare. There we go. Meet Samantha. And here you can see this book. Hey, baby girl. Bye. See, so this is I'm going to go with the first edition because it's 1986. Is the copyright. I don't see any other years in here. And this is summary. In 1904, 9-year-old Samantha, an orphan living with her wealthy grandmother and her servant friend Nellie, have a midnight adventure where they try to find out what has happened to the seamstress who has suddenly left her job. We have friendship, household employees, and women's suffrage. And then again, to my parents who made childhood beautiful. And then your table of contents. And here it shows the family. So we have Grand Mary. I always thought that was cute. She didn't call her Grandma, she called her Grand Mary. Nellie. Samantha. Her uncle, Guard. Cornelia, his wife. Hawkins, the butler. Miss Hawkins, the cook. And that's Jessie, the seamstress. Elsa, the maid. Like I said, she was usually grumpy. And Eddie, Samantha's neighbor who loves to tease. Let's see if we can get through chapter 1 before my phone dies. So here we go, guys. Chapter 1, Jessie. Samantha! The voice broke through the summer afternoon like a crack. The leaves of the quiet old oak tree suddenly rustled and dropped. a skimmering bundle of arms and legs. Samantha Parkington tumbled out of the tree. Samantha, you're really dumb, the voice continued. It was coming from a hole in the hedge that separated Samantha's house from Eddie. That separated Samantha's house from Eddie Ryland's. You're so dumb, you don't even know how to climb a tree. Samantha glanced at her scraped and bleeding knee and looked pained, not because of the knee, but because the voice was at it again. She glared at its owner with a look that could have frozen water in July. Go away, Eddie. But Eddie, round, sticky face, didn't go away. You're dumb. You probably think 3 times 4 is 12, he said. Eddie, Samantha looked disgusted. 3 times 4 is 12. Well, anyway, you're so dumb. That was enough for Samantha. Eddie, she said, if you don't get out of here right now, I will take your entire beetle collection from behind the shed, and I'll put it in the offering plate at church on Sunday. She paused to make sure he was listening. And I'll tell your mother you did it. Eddie's eyes grew wide. He pulled his mouth into a frog face and left to find a safer hiding place for his beetle collection. Samantha examined her knee. The bleeding had stopped, but her stockings were badly torn. She could picture how Grandmary would look when she saw it. Grandmary's eyes had a soft, warm light when they looked at Samantha, but her face could be very stern when she talked about growing up. Discipline, Grandmary would always say, is what turns girls into ladies. Samantha tugged at the hole in her stocking, but she couldn't hide it. The taffeta bow that had held her dark brown hair drooped over her forehead. Yes, this was a job for Jessie. Samantha hurried up the walk and climbed the porch steps, 2 at a time. At the front door, she slowed down. If there was any noise at the front of the house, Elsa would come. Elsa was a new maid. She was always grumpy, and Samantha didn't want to listen to her lecture now. Luckily, the door was quiet. No one saw Samantha run all the way to the 3rd floor. There at the end of the hall was the sewing room. In the corner sat Jessie. Yards and yards of soft lilac material tumbled around her, and the sewing machine clinked quietly at her feet, pressed the trundle back and forth. She hummed to its rhythm as her fine brown hands guided the cloth past the flashing needle. Jessie made clothes for the household. She was working on a new dress for Grandmary, but she stopped as Samantha came through the door. Oh, Miss Samantha, just look at you, Jessie said. As she stood and turned, Jessie's large floating apron swirled over the baskets of thread and lace that rested on the floor. What have you been up to? No, don't tell me. I don't want to know. Here you are 9 years old, almost a lady, and still getting into mischief like a ragamuffin. What will your Grandmary say? Samantha folded her hands and looked at the floor until Jessie was quiet. The mild scolding was a small price to pay for the help she knew Jessie would give her. Already, Jessie had brushed grass and dust from her hair. Now she checked Samantha's dress for tears and stains. She spotted the torn stockings. Take off those shoes and stockings right now. Does your knee hurt? Asked Jessie. No, Jessie, it's all right. I'd just rather not have to explain to Grandmama, said Samantha. Jessie smiled and reached for her sewing basket. Samantha found a clean rag and wet it from the water pitcher. She sponged her injured knee while Jessie sat down to repair the damaged stockings. Oh, it's a cookie. As Samantha looked around the room, she noticed a piece of jelly biscuit on the floor. She must have dropped it the day before. 3 ants had found it. She was about to tell Jessie when she noticed 2 more ants on their way. It would be fun to see how many would come. Samantha sighed loudly. It must be awfully boring to be grown up, she said. Jessie laughed softly. Well, that depends. It depends a lot on the person. Now you, Miss Samantha, I don't think you'll have to be worried about being bored even when you're grown up. There were 7 ants in the jelly biscuit now. I'll bet Cornelia isn't bored, said Samantha. Jessie laughed again. No, I imagine Miss Cornelia is very often bored, she said. Cornelia was a friend of Samantha's favorite uncle. She was pretty and dark-haired, and she laughed easily. Anyone could see that she liked Uncle Guard a lot. But Samantha didn't think Cornelia was right for Uncle Guard. She thought someone like Alice Roosevelt, the president's daughter, would be better. Alice Roosevelt did the most exciting things, and the newspapers were always talking about her. Is Uncle Guard going to marry Cornelia? Said Samantha. That's none of our business, Jessie said firmly, and children shouldn't ask such questions. Samantha grumbled softly. A minute ago, I was almost a lady. Now I'm a child again. 12 ants were on the biscuit, and there were more on the way. Uncle Guard is a spy, you know, Samantha said. Mrs. Samantha, Jessie's head shot up in surprise. Where do you get such foolish ideas? He should be a spy, Samantha went on. He's so handsome and brave, everyone would just fall in love with him. He could get their secrets, and they'd be in love with him. They wouldn't even care. I think you'd better keep such ideas to yourself, Jessie said, as she looked closely at the hole she was mending. You've made quite enough trouble for one day. There were 19 ants on the jelly biscuit. Jessie, did you know my mother and father? Samantha asked. Jessie spoke gently. You know, I didn't, child. That accident in the boat happened when you were just 5. You know I didn't come to work for your grandmother till you were 7. Samantha had known that. Asking had really been wishing. She touched a locket pinned to her dress. Inside the small gold heart was a picture of her mother and father. She would have loved to hear Jessie talk about them. When Jessie told stories, she made everything sound like magic. Jessie would have made Samantha's parents seem like a prince and princess. Tell me about New Orleans, Jessie, please. Jessie picked up a piece of silk for the sleeve of Grandmary's new dress. Her musical voice began to tell about a place where flowers bloomed in winter, a place where there were huge white mansions and balconies made of iron that looked like lace. She told about spicy shrimp and about music and dancing in the streets. And the best part was everything Jessie said was true. She didn't have to make up stories about faraway places. Her husband, Lincoln, was a porter on the train that ran to New Orleans. Lincoln brought home wonderful tales of the places he'd seen and the people he'd met. And he never forgot Samantha. She had a scrapbook almost full of colorful postcards that he sent her from all his trips. Sometimes he brought her pralines from New Orleans, brown sugary candy crowded with sweet pecans. Jessie and Lincoln made Samantha's world wide and wonderful. An hour passed easily, with Jessie's soft voice carrying Samantha to dreamlike places. And we're going to leave that at chapter 1, and we will start chapter 2 tomorrow, A New Girl. Well, I hope you guys are going to enjoy Meet Samantha with me, and we'll see y'all later. Like, subscribe, and we'll see you on the flip side. Bye, all.